Hello friends, welcome to Dr. Baba Sahab Ambedkar Open University, and you are learning very special course in journalism, that is a certificate course in journalism, and very important subject we are learning, that is advertising and public relations. So, in the beginning of my first unit I have explained that this unit is consist of this entire subject is consist of 14 units. So, first to 7 unit is about advertising. So, we have gone through the journey of how advertising works, what is the importance of advertisement, its types, its process, its utility, and we also got to know some of the case studies which explain the good and bad about the campaign. And now it is time to move ahead, and from unit 8 to unit 14 we are going to understand, we are going to learn very engaging, very important subject, that is public relations. So, the name itself says public relations. So, when you maintain your relations with the public is generally understand is a public relations. So, we are going to understand the introduction of public relations in unit 8, and this unit is consist of meaning and concepts of public relations, definitions of public relations, objectives and functions of public relations, public relations agency setup, how a PR agency functions. We also will get to know some of the important glossaries and some questions for our self improvements. So, this unit is briefly talk about the meaning, concept, understanding and definitions of public relations. What are the need, advantages and functions of public relations? What are the role of public relations agency, and what will be the ideal structure of a PR agency when somebody would like to set up? So, meaning and concepts. So, friends, we bond with two kinds of relationship. One is we say relative and second one is the relations. So, relative is hereditary, it is such relations given by the parents, ancestor. So, we call them uncle, sister, maternal uncle and many more relations. There are some relations which can be developed, and those relations is very important, because we have put a lot of efforts to maintain it, to sustain it for the beneficial of mutual understanding from both the end, from our end and from the public end. So, you know that the famous philosopher Aristotle once said that man is a social animal. So, when we say man is a social animal means we cannot live alone, we need to communicate, we have a certain norms, we have a certain structure, we have a certain culture, we have a certain structure that we live in day out. So, therefore, communication always play a very important role of an individual. So, in the entire world there is a hardly an individual or an organization which is able to accomplish their goals without the help of public. I mean, none of the individual, none of the organization can attain their goal, their objective without the support of the public, because we are the social animal. Our needs, our wants, our satisfactions level have a different dimensions, and all those dimensions require a different kind of dealing, different set of dealing, different set of understandings, and therefore, relations comes. Business people depend on customers for sales and profits. So, there is a dependency ratio, we always depend on the others, because our needs and wants never satisfy by one person or two person. we required mass, we required group, we required community, we required country, and we required the whole world as a one family. So, business people depends on the customers for sales and profits, organization depends on employees for productivity. So, if the organization would like to grow, would like to produce quality product, they have to take care of their employees, and industry relies on several engineers and skilled men and women to produce products that ultimately satisfy the human needs and wants, like food, cloth, cars, homes, education. Society depends on the government to provide utilities. So, society always depends on the government, because we need road, we need safety, we need education, we need basic amenities, and that can be fulfilled by the government process, government efforts. And law and order. So, the young generation depends on schools and colleges for education and career advancement, and men and women of all ages depends on the religious institutions for spiritual and moral guidance, and all these have culminated into a great need of relationship and communications among all people at all levels required to engage, and therefore, a process of communication comes at the organizational level, at the individual levels, that always communicate with the people, and that is all about public relations. So, why democracy born? What is the need of the democracy? Because the definition itself says by the people, of the people, and for the people. So, the country, the democratic country functions for the people. People engage to maintain the decorum of the democracy, and therefore, the birth of democracy is worldwide, and concept of powers of the people have generated the importance of people's opinion. Therefore, opinion matters. Why democratic country people's opinion, expert opinion matters? Because they have the ability to influence certain class, they have the ability to influence certain people, which matters a lot in the democracy. Various issues concerning the human race today, matters are not resolved by the use of force or wars. So, therefore, all the time the wars cannot be won by the force, it can be won by the communications. Take the example of our founding father Mahatma Gandhi. He used the word and did everything for the country freedom with the word non-violence, peace, right, but by exchange of ideas and opinions, popularly called public opinion. So, interdependence of people, business, government, and social and religious organizations has given birth to a new philosophy and functions of the management, which has come to be known as the public relations. Often it is correlated that some expert says that public relation is all about management, and management says that communication is all about management. So, communication play interdisciplinary role in the public relations and the management. Now, the definition of public relations. So, various experts have defined about the public relations in a different way, but some of the classical definitions of public relations I have brought for you to understand in a very easy way. So, let us go. In the 35th National Conference of the Public Relations Society of America (PRSA) in November 1982 presented a more competent and comprehensive definitions highlighting the roles and goals of public relations in the total structure of today's complex, pluralist and interdependent society. Right. Another definition says that public relation is 90% of doing good and 10% communicating about it. So, throughout your life, if any individual or any organization is doing good things, So, public relation is all about doing the good things, do the practice, do the things with the base of the truth, and let the people understand, let the people know. So, only 10% required to communicate. So, when you start doing good thing, people automatically comes to you, they know your process, they know your method, and once they know and got your process and method, certainly is going to happen that they will communicate to rest of the people and their neighbors and their surroundings and their family and friends. So, public relations is 90% doing good and 10% communicating about it. So, public relations cannot and should not gloss over the bad deeds of an organization. If any organization or any individual is doing bad thing and they think that bad thing can be communicated wisely and turn the people in their favor, so it happens maybe one time or two time, but cannot be sustained for the longer period of time. Once it exposed, then that organization or that individual is out of the market and out of the society. So, nobody is going to respect, nobody is going to care. An organization to make them look good, but can and should professionally help to get credit for a job well done by the organization. Another definitions, the Edward Louis Bernays, considered to be the father of public relations based in America. He did a lot of good public relations campaign in the 19th century to support liberation, to support women empowerment, to support a product that can be captured in media, that service can be captured in media. He did a lot of campaigns for government, for private companies, for the public companies. So, he defined about the public relations, saying that public relations is the attempt by information. So, very important things he has mentioned about the public relations, that is attempt by informations. So, public relation is basically attempting the information, persuasions. So, once you communicate the information, then you need to also persuade the people. So, information, persuasion and adjustment to the engineer public support for any activity. If you are doing anything good for the society, good for the people, good for the community, good for the individual or good for the organization, you try to inform the people, also make them persuade, also make them understand that this is the good thing for them, and ultimately make them adjustment to support your activity, cause, movement or the institutions. That is how he defined the public relations. So, public relation is the communication and interpretation and communication of ideas, very important definition. So, public relation is the communication interpretations. So, once you establish the communications, let the people interpret, let the people decide, let the opinion maker decide what communicated and how it impacted to the people. So, communication and interpretation and communication of ideas from an institution to the publics, and the communication of information, ideas and opinion from those publics to the institutions, right, in a sincere effort to establish a maturity of interest and thus achieve the harmonious adjustment of an institution to its community. Every organization, every individual, every society has their own community. So, make them mutual understanding. Let us draw their attention what you are doing on behalf of company or for the individual. So, this definition is given by Scott M. Cutlip and Ellen H. Center. And the Webster dictionary defined about the public relations, saying that relations with the general public is a public relations as through publicity. So, through publicity you building a relationship with the general public is called public relations, especially those functions of a corporation, organization concerned with the attempting to create favorable public opinion for itself. So, these are the some of the definitions of public relations. So, what is the objective and functions of the public relations? So, we got to know that basically the role of a public relations is to establish the mutual understanding between the organization and its publics. So, whatever you communicating, make sure that your public, your organization come together and support for a certain cause, support for certain activity, support for certain mission and vision that company would like to achieve, organization would like to achieve, and that is going to be the beneficial and win-win situation to both the parties, to the organization and to the public as well. So, some of the objectives of public relations is: first, creating awareness about the company, its goal, product, service, where this counts. So, ultimately the objective of PR is creating the awareness about a company, its goal, product and services. So, how you can create the awareness? Could be method of storytelling, could be through article, could be through interview, could be through different kinds of speaking engagement. Second, sustaining the awareness as an ongoing process, keeping in mind what the competitors are doing and knowing that public memory is short. So, people have the tendency to forget whatever has done in the past very easily. So, public relations time to time recall those process that look, we have done this thing earlier for the public, now we also again restarting. So, people draw the attention and get supported. Third, striving to be accepted by the various publics, special efforts are required to be accepted by employees, and therefore, to support any activity, to go to the market and go to the public and do any activity, internal employee, those who are working for the company, their engagement, their wholesale engagement makes the campaign, makes the activity great. A foreign company has its own requirement of being accepted on this soil. So, any foreign player, you know that the recent finance budget where government has invited 100% FDI in different sectors. So, foreign player would like to do their business, could be a service or manufacturing or any kind of ideations. So, they have to understand the local market of India, right, and then they can develop their process. And PR play very important to communicate, to reach out to the targeted people, because ultimately a company needs the support of the government to the public, right. Fourth, creating a bond of trust in times of rumors, misinformations. It is a very important practice of public relations, because many a times, because in competitive market where line of competitors are there, so lot of a time you might have crossed that in media or in any other public forum, misinformations are circulated, could not be in the real sense, and those misinformation time to time need to be addressed to the public from the expert point of view of that particular organizations by using the mass media to the people. So, creating a bond of trust in times of rumors, misinformation, etc., a company has to establish the truth. In normal times too, a company has to promote its reliability. Just consider the frequent use of words like believe, trust, reliable, safe, 100%. These are some of the words that you might have read in campaign, could be through advertising campaign, or some of the time one question can be strike in your mind that is advertising the tool of a public relations, or public relation is the tool of advertising? In a certain way we can say yes, because any public service announcement good for the public interest going through the advertisement is the tool of a PR. At the same time, right, if any advertorial kind of things where certain articles are there and one or two ads are there, so both are supporting to each other, advertising and public relations. So, therefore, we can say that advertising and public relations complementary to each other at certain point of time. Fifth, getting cooperation from various quarters. A company has many publics on whom it has to depend. Government organizations, providers of various services have to be viewed in such a way that they will willingly help the company. Sixth, earning recognition. So, this is the USP of public relations process. You have to gain the recognition of the public. So, it is not enough to perform a feat, but it is necessary to get these noticed and talked about. So, though winning awards, certifications and getting these reads and seen, the company gets recognitions. So, many a times you have seen that the company won this prize, that recognition from the government, from NGO or from any international organizations. That certainly helps to boost the trust among their own people, could be internal and external. So, when we say public relations, so there are two types of publics you find. One is the internal publics and second is the external public. So, any person within the organization is working for the company is internal public. Like one of in the internal public, you can say employees, shareholders, stakeholders, they are the whole and soul of the company. They think good for the company, they work for the company, they live for the company, right, and their quality time spending the growth of the company. So, they are the internal people. External people, though they are not internally, but yes, somehow they are interested in the company's process, organization process, like a media, government, regulators, right, dealers, any other authorities, some or other way they are understanding the company's process, company's importance. So, those are the external publics. So, earning recognition, it is not enough to perform feats, but it is necessary to get these notices and talked about it. So, though winning award, certification and getting these read and seen, a company gets recognitions. Having so and so as a client or a collaboration may itself be a recognition. This has to be publicized as and when required or from time to time on behalf of the companies in the mass media, and let the people read, let the people understand, let the people listen. Some of the functions of public relations. The first function is the media representation, right, because ultimately whatever you are doing good for the company, as I said in the definition, that public relation is all about is 90% of doing good job and 10% let it understand by the people, right, and media helps a lot. So, representing a company or an individual to the media is one of the more well known functions of the public relations. So, maintaining the relations with the media representatives, editor, photographer, reporter, any correspondent, bureau chief, freelancers, all those people who are working for mass media. So, it's process of maintaining the relations. So, this is one of the core and potent part of public relations, that is the media representation. Second is the crisis communications. Many a times that happen, a company face a crisis. So, at that point of time you have to manage the crisis through communications, because management part is already doing by planning, organizing, directing and staffing. Another part, man, machine, method, money, all sort of things one side is applying, another is required. Whatever applying, whatever process is doing, let the people, let the media, let the government, let the regulator should understand, should know that this process is in the progress and certainly the crisis will overcome very soon. So, crisis communication, protecting a company from a threat to its reputation is another public relations functions. So, while media representation is the part of crisis communication, preparing a crisis communication plan and training, leadership and employee on its component is handled by the public relations departments. So, during the crisis, so crisis is 3 phase, one is the pre, post and during. So, pre, during and post process. So, it means that you have to be very proactive to maintaining the your crisis part, and if required then you have to prepare a crisis team, make them train, make them aware that what can be communicated to the mass media if required. Content development, many times happens that on behalf of CEO or a director or any big authority, you need to circulate the interviews, the article, editorial bite and other things, especially any big event like you might have read various newspapers wherein the MD and CEO directors of big companies, they have given the opinion, they have given their bites about the budget, how the budget rate looks like, whether good or bad or need improvements, what were their expectations from the budget and what they are getting, all sort of things that you might have get through the mass media. So, content development, preparing documents written in electronic is another functions of the public relations. Examples of content development by the public relations department includes company newsletters, blogs, speeches, annual reports. These all are time to time required. Stakeholder relations, social media management, you need to develop the relationship with your stakeholders, because they are the ultimately custodian of your company or organizations. They have a keen interest to see the development progress of the organizations. So, whatever is happening within the organization or outside the organizations, if any good thing is happening, you need to communicate it time to time to your stakeholders relations. So, social media management, in almost every company is having the presence on social media through by creating a group or page or profile. So, regular content, quality content must be required to put and let the people understand. So, therefore, social media management is the big task today, like creating or updating a content on Facebook pages, tweeting information and keeping. Almost every CEO and politician or big companies, you find the Twitter account and LinkedIn profile. So, this is the structure of public relations agency. So, friends, when you would like to set up a PR agency, so you this is the structure that can be followed. So, could be a founder and CEO of the company, then so there will be a 4 vertical, there will be a 4 vertical where public relations functions works. One is the client servicing. So, the job of the client servicing department is to maintain the relations with the client, understand the client's requirement, make them pitch note, make them understand their requirement, and then based on the accumulation of information and data, circulated to the department called account planning. So, account planning is the heart of any ad agency or a PR agency, where account planner is scientifically expert to allocate the communication process to different departments. Then after creative and graphics department comes, visualization department comes, where contents are basically generated, and then we have media planning department, media planning and buying, where once the content is ready, client approved the content, then based on the selected media, the content were circulated and get published in the media. So, let us understand through a video what is the role and what is the role of a PR agency. So, let us watch this video. Is certainly is going to clarify why we need a PR agency, why any organization need a PR agency. These are the some of the popular PR agency that I have listed, like from Arohan Communication, till Blue Pigeon Image Management Private Limited. So, I have listed good PR agencies name, but in India Ad Factors PR is considered the number 1 PR agencies. These are some of the used glossaries: PR agency, PRSA, and some of the questions for your self improvement. Define the public relations, describe the objectives and functions of the public relations, and explain the role of a public relations agency in modern PR practices. So, friends, that is all from this unit, and I hope that this unit is certainly going to clarify your basic understanding, the introduction of your public relations. It has a many dimensions to understand, but whatever we have understood is sufficiently clarify your doubts and understanding about public relations. So, that is it from this unit. Take care of yourself, do a study well, and that is it. Thank you.